inflammation entrepreneurs? Can he reward us for being consensus and synthesis entrepreneurs?
And then, as far as you and I, right, what can everyday people do? A lot of that just comes down to personal social media choices and limiting interaction with it. Right, turning off push notifications except for the Philip DeFranco show, and deleting apps except for The Story, Harris, anything. And then I want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's show, ButcherBox, for offering you beautiful bastards a free 10 to 14 pound turkey and $10 off. Meat claims can be confusing and even misleading at times, but with ButcherBox, our family knows exactly what we're getting and where it's coming from. Beef, here to staple this global office, and shipping is always free. So order today at butcherbox.com/DeFranco. And then Lauren Boebert is in a crazy close race right now. It's way closer than anyone expected. As I was recording today, there was an update where all of a sudden now she took the lead by some votes, though votes are still being counted. But actually, one of the reasons she's in the news right now is not because of what she's done, but rather because MSNBC put on Democratic strategist Kurt Bardella, and they ask him, what do you think, what is she gonna do if she loses? To which Kurt responds,
that might be a gain for OnlyFans. I don't know what she would do in this scenario.
Which of course resulted in people saying, what the fuck? What was that? How'd you mess up dunking on Lauren Boebert? She is a ridiculous person who represents so much of what's wrong in our country right now. And you're like, time to be a sexist, misogynistic asshole. A woman chooses to showcase her body to make money. Time to degrade her. And Kurt has since apologized, saying it is never my intention to shame women. I apologize. But yeah, ultimately now it's in the court of public opinion, where some people are gonna say, hey, it's a joke, that's offensive, whereas others are gonna say, no, I think he kind of let slip through how he really feels about women. But that's not for me to say for you, that's for every individual. And then Trump is done, according to people I don't agree with. Or the midterms were Tuesday, we talked about it yesterday. Since then, Republicans have closed the gap a little bit more and are moving towards taking the House by a slim majority as expected. Though I really do want to note there are still a number of key races left. Meanwhile, in the Senate, we still don't know if control is going to come down to a runoff in Georgia yet again. So while we wait to see more and more of those numbers, rather than focusing on that, today I thought it'd be better to focus on the major narrative that's emerging right now about Trump and the future of the Republican Party. Currently, Republicans are piecing together the picture of why their anticipated red wave failed to materialize, with now many blaming the former president because the candidates that he picked and endorsed were weak, untested, and unprepared, with strategists even saying the party's weakest Senate candidates were ones that Trump was responsible for pushing. And according to Axios, nearly every GOP member and aide that spoke to the outlet said the party's underperformance was the lasting fallout from the Supreme Court's abortion decision and an over-reliance on former President Trump's star power. And that was also backed up by Republican insiders like Michael Brendan Dougherty, a senior writer at National Review, who tweeted, all the chatter on my conservative and GOP channels is rage at Trump like I've never seen. But also, what's notable about this time right now is that it's not just Republicans speaking anonymously. There has been a wave of public attacks and criticisms from some of the top voices in the party, including some of Trump's conservative allies. This including Republican Mike Lawler, who just flipped a key congressional seat in New York, and who said in an interview today that he would like to see the party move forward. I think more focus needs to be on the issues and substance of those issues than on personality. That also echoed by former Republican Representative Peter King, who said, I strongly believe he should no longer be the face of the Republican Party, and adding that the party cannot become a personality cult. Become? Anyway, to that point, many other Republicans have also said that's part of the reason Republicans did so bad, that Trump was trying to make this election all about himself. Like former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who discussed the poor performances of Trump's candidates and saying it's a huge loss for Trump. And again, it shows that his political instincts are not about the party, they're not about the country, they're about him. And in addition to Trump endorsing bad candidates, when he took part in campaign efforts, he largely focused on states he lost in 2020 rather than mobilizing voters in areas where he's already popular. People also pointing to the fact that he can't shut up about or stop teasing the fact that he plans to run in 2024, which regarding his potential run, we've also seen tons of conservatives saying that he should delay his announcement, with an anonymous Senate strategist telling the Washington Post that if Trump announces before the Georgia Senate runoff, he could seriously fuck up the Republicans' chances of winning the seat, and adding people are tired of Trump. They want something else. They are ready to change the channel. No more reruns. Some of that sentiment also expressed by Trump's former press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, with her arguing all the focus needs to be on Georgia right now and saying of Trump, I think he needs to put it on pause. Absolutely. And adding, I think we've got to make strategic calculations. Governor DeSantis, I think he should be welcome to the state given what happened last night. You've got to look at the realities on the ground. And that bit about DeSantis is a key thing here because many of the voices that have been criticizing Trump and saying he's not the future of the party have also been saying that Ron DeSantis is. And where I will say it's the most interesting is that conservative media is actually starting to sway people in that direction. Right? Because in addition to McEnany's remarks on Fox News, coverage of DeSantis has totally eclipsed Trump on the network, with many of its commentators and anchors praising him and focusing on his successes and touting his bright future. The outlet also notably running a headline on its website titled Conservatives Point Finger at Trump After GOP's Underwhelming Election Results. He's never been weaker, with it further detailing how major Republican players are championing DeSantis. It's also not just Fox. Other conservative media chiming in as well, including the New York Post, voting Including yesterday's front page to a photo of DeSantis celebrating his win with the headline, "The Future." And while DeSantis in no way is publicly touching any of this, you've had Trump just jabbing away at DeSantis. Whether it's calling him sanctimonious, saying, you know, I could tell people some not so great things about him. Yesterday saying, hey, I got more votes for me in Florida than DeSantis got this year, as if like this wasn't a midterm election. But even with everything we've reported, I want to say I do not believe that it's going to be DeSantis over Trump. I don't know if you noticed this while I was covering the story. When we look at all the people speaking out against Trump, we're not really seeing Republican politicians who are currently in office and have relied on his voters and sway to win their elections in the past. They are scared of him and his base. And the moderates, or at the very least, the people who didn't drink the Kool-Aid but kind of allowed things to happen, they let the cancer grow for too long. I don't see a way you remove it without losing the whole thing. Like maybe someone can convince Trump, hey, it's way cooler to be a kingmaker than a king, but otherwise I don't see how anything actually changes. Cults don't often swap out leaders peacefully. But hey, that's a story, my opinion, also my prediction. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, and I'll pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? But that is where that story and today's show ends. Friendly reminder before I leave, the Philip DeFranco show is now 5 days a week. I go Sunday through Thursday. Sunday's a brand new community show, and a bunch of y'all will actually be a part of it, so definitely check that out. But my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you Sunday.
Oh.